So, do you think it's weird in society, right? Maybe. And perhaps there could be some level of rights in this, and perhaps it all depends on where you draw the line. But anyone that owns horses,
Yeah.
do you think it's cruel to keep a horse inside a field most of the time and only take it out for a walk now and then? See, we put so much emphasis, don't we, on but horses are free creatures, aren't they?
Yeah.
When you understand that, they are very free creatures. And
Isn't
it's
it?
really strange, right? Because they get a level of enjoyment
Yeah.
out of doing stuff. Horses are interesting. Ever have them on lands for too long, and they will eat all of the stuff that is non-toxic and leave all the toxic stuff to
Yeah.
grow.
Yeah.
So you have to really look after their environment. Anyway, so maybe I'm talking about wild horses here.
Yeah.
But actually, domesticated horses like to do things. They get bored quite easy. Anyway, well, speaking of horses, and why am I talking about horses? I don't know, because this has been rattling around in my mind. So, in the old days, do you believe that horse manure is as good and as great as what it is stated to be?
I honestly don't know, and I don't think so.
Yeah. Shades of grey, right? I've grabbed some horse manure, look, and put it in some plants.
Yeah.
And I didn't really find it worked. It turned all the ends of the leaves yellow. There you go. That's an over, and that was only a little bit that I mixed in there because madness. Get past the smell. It's shit after all. And also, this leads on to you said that some places that they were making elephants eat coffee. Is that right? And then people would collect the crap that the elephants would do, and then they would make a coffee drink out of this.
Yeah, I read that, but I have no idea where that was. Somewhere in the world.
Oh my days.
And some other animals, not just elephants, but some small animals like squirrely, ferrety animals. I don't know their names.
Oh. That's how people will sell elephant manure as a vitamin or mineral.
But
right. So
yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
I just want to move with this. It's really weird, right? That how people are so susceptible and so gullible to the most weirdest and wonderful things. So they look at an elephant and think the reason why elephant manure is perhaps supposed to be so wonderful for you is because elephants have an uncanny ability. Wild elephants, not domesticated ones, but oh my god, any way that they can make money, they're going to make money, and that's basically what the agenda is, I would say. And then I go going here, scientist, not dissing scientists. I'm sure that in their minds that you can unlock a lot more than their limiting belief systems that they've had placed on them. But we've seen it time and time again throughout history. Come here. Look, tell me about this product. Tell everyone how good it is. Come on, I'm gonna pay you some money.
Yeah, find something in it, and there is always something somewhere in something that might be good, but is there good enough, or is there much more worse stuff in it or something? You always find something that might work for something, but then 80% maybe doesn't.
Yeah.
But that's omitted.
Well, at the end of the day, zoos need to make money. And what's the best way? Where are they losing their money? Well, they have to get some machinery, pay somebody to muck everything out, dig it all out, take it in a vehicle that requires prehistoric dinosaurs. Just want to state that one.
Yeah.
Wow, it goes around. Scoop this shit up, move it, and tip it somewhere. So they're going to need wasteland.
Yeah.
They're going to need all of this. Do you know that costs money? That runs in the mines.
Yeah.
And you might not be in a zoo all the time. So therefore, they got to make money, find ways to make money on shit.
Yeah.
Literally. Sorry if I'm not being very nice about saying that, but oh well.
This one made me laugh because it's in this case, it was funny because they don't sell it as a manure, but in really like small jars, just as a souvenir. This one, so it's really like just funny thing to buy for someone.
Yeah, a funny thing to buy for someone, but at
But
the end
help
of the day,
the elephants,
if you think that, well, does it really help the elephant or does it help the CEO? Someone is making money off of this, wherever way you look at it. And if you can so that means that I'm going to go and take a massive crap and say, hey, I've been eating nothing but good stuff. Who wants to buy some of this? And then I'm going to start profiting off of my crap. Literally. Yeah, I got some golden syrup here. What's it called? Golden shower. Yeah, golden juice. Look at it. It's pure as the sun. Here you go. Right, if you could, you would, right? But you would know that there's a whole ton of bullshit in that. Maybe. Anyway, so what is that about? That's about making money. Why is that about making money? Well, it's interesting. And then we were talking about horses back in the day and whether this would actually support plant growth or not. Well, I had this plant.
Yeah.
And it was producing an awful lot of clones, right? So many clones, I didn't know what to do with it. And this was in soil that was practically, it wasn't soil, it was more rock than anything else. It had converted all of the soil into roots, pretty much. If you pay attention to plants, this is what they do. They remove the soil somehow. And they convert this roots system is the most dominant thing in the pot. So yes, they need a percentage of soil, or technically you should say medium.
Yeah.
But everyone is under the belief system that plants, seeds crash down onto the planet full of soil. But everyone forgets the fact that plants make soil. It's tree waste. It's decay. It's basically what it is. Old leaves. The tree is like, hey, I don't need these leaves. I'm going to let these go and let them blow in the wind. That's your problem. Oh, shit. Someone else's problem is now my problem, right? So this is what... So there's an awful lot. Then you will understand that leaves move, but they don't when you've got a built up a forest. So it kind of works when they're on their own, blah-de-blah-de-blah. But trees, if you've noticed, around the countryside, they're not doing so well, especially oak trees. When you look at them, they're on their own. Or you've got 4 of them in a row and they've all got tons of diseases.
Yeah.
Near enough, all of them have got this yellow stuff starting to burst out of them. They're all hollow. If you know that I've taken you to those trees, really big. You can almost impossible to hug them. Not many people know about these, by the way, because of their location is quite the journey to get to.
Yeah.
Oof, man. And you want to go when it's nice and warm, but then you're like, oh, I got to climb through all of this shit to get there, right? So anyway, but you'll understand that this tree is massive oak tree. It is massive. Not many people know about it, because if they did, they'd build a fence around it and put a nice little plaque there and a nice clear path to it. But the fact is, it is doing pretty well. But if you climb it and look down inside it, oh, that is not doing too well. That is hollow. So most of the trees are decaying, and the lack of rejuvenation around it is shocking. And I could go there and take a load of manure, horse manure, any manure. It's not going to save the tree. The trees kind of, if trees could talk, they say if walls could talk, or fly on a wall. Anyway, but if trees could talk or nature could talk, it'd be like, what the hell are you doing, fingers? Take your shit away from here. I don't need this. This isn't going to help me. I'll try and make do with it, but hell, this is not what I need. Have I not taught you anything? In the air. So a nice experiment I did was I was trying to mimic volcanic debris, dust. And there was this plant that I had, like I say, it was absolutely producing clones. And it would always do it in twos. I was okay then, and they seemed to be twins, almost. Not quite, but they'd flower at the same time, and they would produce their leaves almost identical, maybe some a few days, difference, weeks, give or take. But nonetheless, there was a sort of pattern coming from this, that she'd push out 2 clones, great big, I can't remember the name of the plant now, it's a lily type anyway, it doesn't matter. Really nice, big, beautiful flower arrangement. It was 1 stem and multiple flowers on this 1 stem, whereas the other one is multiple stems, 6 flowers. no more, no less. So yeah, I was taking these out, putting them in here, putting them over there, just trying to find pots and space. Man, you're taking over my house, which it is, because it knows that I'm helping it advance. So as soon as I removed them, more would come, more would come, more would come. And slowly but surely, you are working with nature. So I had the main plant was dominating one particular window. Great big plant. It was probably about this tall by about, I don't know, this big from its curved. I had a spider plant. Actually, no, it was a St. Bernard lily, not a spider plant. Much different, similar to a spider plant. Spider plants are really hard to kill. If you can't look after a spider plant, you need to take up piano wrecking. If you manage to kill a spider plant, piano wrecking is your thing. Or demolition job, anyone, right? Yeah. So, to get a spider plant with St. Bernard lily was huge. It was massive. I took it from a cutting that my mum had brought round. Actually, technically Ron, he brought it round. Here you go, tell. And then within less than a year, this thing was monster size. But it then began producing lots of it would flower, and then out of the flower, if pollinated, right, it would produce even more on top of this vine, which then I put into coconut, half shells of coconut, so you could go above. Kind of worked in a way, but kind of then started taking over the main mama plant, if you like. Anyway, but when it's cloning, what it's doing is if you work with it, if you do nothing with the clones, it slows down. And then when you start to remove these, it then begins to say, and then slowly but surely it's advancing, but using your help. And it advances so well, and it works with you, and you work with it. And then another windowsill is now dominated with these clones. Then another windowsill is dominated with these clones. And another windowsill is dominated with these clones. And slowly but surely, it begins to take over the house. And then I'd be pushed into a situation where I could have started selling these. Start selling these out. And then slowly but surely it begins to dominate. But it's the amount of awareness that is in that. And did you know there's something else? I think I helped you see this. It was in a room, and it appeared to be quite bright. And I told you that when I take the plants out of this room, the room is going to get so bright. You need shades. And isn't that strange? No matter where you put the plant in the room, the light seems to dip.
It absorbs.
Yeah, it can make a light space very dark very quickly. So you hear some people like, oh, you should have plants. Yes, you should have plants, but you also equally need to increase the light. Try this. It's those little subtle things that you don't notice, but they're happening. So when you've got a lot of plants, it's very dim. Even if you put them in the room, not on a windowsill somewhere, you'll notice that the light seems to be being absorbed, if you like. So there is less in the room. Isn't that something? So the light seems to bounce around usually, but then it hits the plant and it's absorbed into it. It almost seems like. Try that. It's the subtle things that you'll do that you just don't notice. The way I noticed it is because periodically I'd go and wash them. Go and wash them all down. So they'd all go in the bathroom. Oh, man, it's pretty freaking dark in here. It's pretty sunny outside. Usually this is the lightest room in the house. But nope. It was because I put the plants in there. As soon as I took them out, it's like, in, out, in. Wow, there's definitely a difference in the light here. Quite a lot. Which is impressive. But, also pretty... you want to keep an eye on that. So anyway, with this cloning, I had some manure, because you hear all of this wives' tale that manure is the thing that you want to put your plants in. Totally load of bullshit, mind you. But I then wondered where this tale came from. I wondered where this whole situation of taking manure come from.
My mom never used it, but she said that her grandma said that it's supposed to keep the plant warm or release heat.
No doubt, that's a possibility. Yeah, I'm sure.
That's all I know. Yes.
But so does decaying vegetation. That also keeps warm, and it will keep the plant warm. Which again, you're onto something there, because like I said in one of my other videos, that plants are not sitting there and thinking, oh, it's getting lighter. Ooh, let's start making some buds. No, it's getting warmer. They are your best thermostats. Wait, thermometers, I'd say. Because if I have a plant that's outside and I bring it inside during the winter, it won't shut down. It won't drop its leaves. In fact, it's like, hey, what? Let's keep going.
Yeah.
But you can believe a wives' tale that I was taught in school, but I just couldn't accept it. Plus, with my shed, I liked to have a lot of plants. It's just great for me. It helps me battle through depression, and I don't need a tablet. I just need nature. And usually this seems to be all right. How's your depression going? Have you seen these plants? Whoa, these are pretty good. So does that mean it's good? Yeah, that means we're working on something. So I tried one pot with a little mix of soil and some manure. Oh, you could worm your horses, but so I put it in. Nope, didn't work. I tried a lye solution. This was in the initial beginning, not much. But then as time went on, boosh, it rocketed.
Yeah.
And then I tried to mimic volcanicity. Oh, the best results were volcanicity. So again, plants need soil. They also need manure. They also need some of it. Nah, bollocks. Rubbish. They have evolved to cope with this, but take a look. And then I noticed farmers putting tons and tons of shit, human shit, pig shit, you name any shit, they're putting it on the fields, right? Pay attention to the trees. How much diseases are they getting? How much rot are they getting? You know that shit encourages bacteria. Not good. Well, maybe it's good for your crop, but
trees
you've been
are
told
there
it.
a long time. They are not just seasonal, so they show the effects.
Yeah, exactly. So with this in mind, I began to really pay attention. I pay attention to the most smallest, subtle changes that you can get. And it left me wondering, where did this tale of taking horse shit and putting it on roses come from? You know, the horse must have gone and had a cracking shit in a rose patch somewhere, got a little prick in the ass whilst it was there, and then someone was like, oh my god, these roses are looking pretty fucking good. It's probably just a good year of light. Perhaps there was less cloud. But no, I try and think about it, and I try and dig into this. Well, it's symbolic. The rose plant is symbolic to Britain. Well, used to be, not so much now, but more so symbolic, Labour had it as the rose, the rugby team has the rose, and symbology from the rose plant. So there must have been lots of people having rose plants. But what else was there? Horse and fricking cart. Now, we're going to go on a journey that's going to take like 4 days worth of... right, so we're going to be on all of this journey, right? And you're going to be paying for this journey, but there is an almighty stench and lots of flies. Ugh. They weren't using the fans to keep themselves cool. They were like, oh, the stench. So what's the best thing to do if you don't want to pay for someone to clean that up? Or you don't want to keep stopping every 5 minutes. Come on, take a shit already. All right, thank you. Even if you throw it at the side of the road, what's it going to do? It's still going to attract flies and everything else. It's going to make the journey quite a disgusting thing. So I honestly thought then that perhaps propaganda was used. Did you know, right, Britons were told by Americans, I think, this is funny, that if you take pasta, was it pasta? I think it was pasta, and you put it over a hedge.
Spaghetti.
Pasta. There you are, yeah. You put the spaghetti over the hedge, it will grow. Well, not half wrong, but not in the way you think it's going to grow. It's going to swell, maybe, but it's definitely not going to grow. And I think that I don't even know if this is true, but still, it's a funny story.
Yeah, it was a funny story. We watched some old documentary about it.
So there you are. That's propaganda, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, come on, seriously, guys, how did you make this stuff? All right, we'll tell you. Cost you a shilling, right? So what's the best way to have a clean street from horse shit? Tell people, if they're symbolic with the rose, that if you get horse shit and put it on your roses, Right?
will
What sounds
flourish,
better?
yeah.
It will flourish your roses. How come your roses are so good? I keep removing the horse shit off the road every time it goes by, or the track or whatever, because probably they have roads. But still. Oh, you do? And then they're having freaking battles over it. What are you doing? Freely cleaning the streets, right? What's better? Oh, we need people to, clean the streets and remove this manure because, the people that are traveling are complaining and they're not paying enough for the journey because it stinks and there's flies and there's this. And people are like, what do you want me to do about it? Can you just go out there for free and just remove it off there for us? What am I supposed to do with it? I don't know, perhaps bury it in your garden or something? No thanks. It's a shit job, but someone's got to do it, kind of thing, right? It doesn't have a ring to it, but what has a better ring to it? It'll make your roses grow. And then they're all going out grabbing it. And then that led me to something else, right? So the whole idea they had where they were taking rotten fruit at shit actors.
Yeah.
Right? So anyone would come on stage, you would say, and they'd throw the rotten fruit at them. Well,
only if it was bad performance, though.
Okay, bad performance, but that sounds like a whole lot of fun.
Yeah,
okay?
It does.
You're not shit, but fucking hell, I ain't taking this home. Right? So that means that people will go into these places with all sorts of rotten fruit and different other things. I've been keeping this one for a week. And if you think I'm taking this home,
yeah, there is definitely one of you is not good actor.
I'm gonna be shitting the stage with rotten fruit. It's gonna start to smell. It's gonna start to be bad. So how do you stop that? Okay, look, we're gonna have to do something about this. They're wrecking the stages. We can't keep building stages every 5 minutes. Come on, what are we gonna do? Let's put the people in stocks who are really bad. Well, what's really bad? I don't know. Minor public offences. And we'll put them in the stocks. They haven't done enough shit to deserve the noose. Not yet. But, it's better than chopping off the hand because that's also making a mess. So let's put them in the stocks and we can tell people that they can throw their rotten fruit at them. Then, no more horrible shit thrown at actors. Do it. What do you need? A couple of railway sleepers? Do it. Get them. Now, get these in every fucking town. What we'll do is we'll have them in the stocks just before they go to the performance, and they got to make a choice, right? Not guaranteed to see a shit actor, but you know what you're guaranteed to see? Some naughty, naughty, naughty person doing naughty public stuff. Which one would you want to throw them at? Yeah, fuck it. Are coconuts included? Is it rotten? Yes. Have at it. And then someone else was like, you know what, I work for a circus. I might incorporate this coconut throwing, Maybe.
Potatoes.
This coconut missed, so this is mine. What do you need it for? None of your business. Gonna put it there. Here, take this stone. Do you reckon you could hit that? You missed. I know, it's amazing, isn't it? That was a shilling. Come on, throw a rock at a coconut. Come on, if you miss, you miss. If you hit it, well, you might get 2 shillings. After I've just bled a lot of people for about 50 shillings, we're doing well. Come on, gotta keep taxman happy. Or woman. And then you find these. So I wonder if it's a wives' tale. It was just a propaganda coup.
Yeah.
Because, and now we're stuck in this where people are like, do you want to buy some horse shit? Not particularly. Are you sure you don't want to buy some horse shit from me? Anyone, horse shit? A bag of horse shit? £1 for a bag of horse shit. Going once. Going twice. Oh, £2? Okay, £2 for the bag of horse shit. Did I see 3? Anyone? Again, I could be really good at saying.
I think now you have more chicken shit and cow's shit and pig's shit because there's less horses than was before.
You would think that all people that owned horses wouldn't have hedges. They would have roses all the fucking way around the field. 1, horse get pricked, horse staying in enclosure. 2, how do your roses grow? They grow pretty fucking well, actually. You know what? I can even sell the roses too. No. I'm copywriting this. Don't you get any ideas? Well, that's if the roses would actually grow in horse shit. But I don't know. The ones here aren't doing too well. Yeah. And then if it was really that nutritious, what do horses eat a lot of? Vegetation. I mean, they're having a go at the freaking hedges and stuff as well.
Yeah.
I don't think you should be. I told you shouldn't be eating that stuff, man. How am I going to clean this up? It will just run off the shovel. How am I going to sell this? Come on, what's wrong with you? Bit of garlic? Yeah. Never too much garlic though. And if it was all very nutritious, they would be peeling back the top layer of their field, and they'd be burying it underneath it and then rolling it back and seeing how lush that would be. So no, I think it was probably more so because you would think that in the day and age of horses, I mean, it was the weirdest thing. I was near the Cromer. No, it wasn't. It was Great Yarmouth. There you are, Great Yarmouth, right? One particular time as a kid. And in the day and age of horses, there wasn't much of horse shit collection. There probably was, on a few. But nowadays, it's like, you know, actually when I was a kid, there was just like loads of horse shit. And the cars would come and just bake it into the freaking pavement. Yeah. Don't get me started on dog shit in towns, right? Yeah. But anyway, so it was just like, the horses started making speed bumps for the cars. Man, what's all that? That's compact horseshit. Right. And then they were like, fuck, we got to do something about this. They need nappies. And it was like, next time I was there, I was seeing this horse in this sort of, what the? Would you like to come and ride? No. Why do you not want it? What's this? It's like a shit tray. You know, we got drip trays in the bottom of a fridge. Yeah.
Collecting
We're going to collect this shit. Then what are you going to do with it? Well, either we will put it in a bag and sell it. Do you have any roses? No. Only the chocolate kind. Cadbury's. Anyway, so, I just didn't buy that. And then it was like, oh, you need some soil, some really good soil. And I see these plant experts just banging on about soil, and the soil needs to be really rich. Rich as in expensive, or rich as in nutrients, rich in lies? Which is it? Because, you know, I'm not sure that plants grow well in this stuff. You know, let's go and cover the side of a mountain with a load of different shits and see what grows. Or let's wait until a volcano erupts and then watch that shit grow back. Watch how thick it grows back. Look how lusciously green without not one single defect in that. Whoa, it's like a pea in a pod, but more like nature versus this medium. And what was abundant when nature first started getting going? Man, could you imagine? This whole planet was a Garden of Eden. Now it's like way too much of this build-up of decay, and the plants are just kind of like, So I just wondered if it was just all a wives' tale, and it's much more easier to, you know, everyone's like, oh my god, the tides are coming in, they're eroding coastlines. Yeah, we could just go over to the volcanoes that are just like spitting out all of this stuff. We could grind some of that shit up and come bring it on the fields. Yeah. Do you know how expensive that would be? Chill out, fucking chill out. Not all of it is great, not gonna lie. Some of it is a bit too much in the sulfur. That is not great. But I don't want about the other stuff, the dust. It's very nutritious. It might as well be, because it spits it near enough around the whole of the world. And also certain types of dust as well. I notice when you have like a Sahara dust or dust storm is coming, oh god, it's bad for humans, solar panels and everything else. But nature is pretty freaking good. It's pretty nutritious. It's like a feeder. So, in today's age, how come we don't have any tracks made available?
Tracks?
Yeah, for horses and carts. I mean, anyone want a business here? You got horses that are in a field somewhere. Oh, look at the horses. Yes, look how sad they look. That must be so boring.
They must be even more bored in stables when they are just standing there. And
that does look pretty boring to me. Yeah. That really does. And, you know, why are they not got any carts where people can be like, you know, it's better than Great Yarmouth, I suppose. But a track that goes like from here to London, get the experience, no crossing of any roads or anything like that. but just a track that runs from X to Z. Because as they're shitting in the fields, won't they be given nutrition to the farmland? What? We could plant roses along the way.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, that would be like a yin and yang. Bad smell versus... I can sort of smell the roses in that. Oh, this bit is a little bit strong. What have you been getting out the garlic? So, anyway, so I don't even know where I was going with this whole story, but this was some of the things that I was thinking about.
Yeah.
That, back in the day, people used to scrape that off a road and go throw it in their garden.
Yeah.
Happy flies. And then people would fight over it. This is my nutrition. And now we've moved into the world where it's like people are trying to sell elephant shit. Elephant eat coffee. Elephant take big dump. I mean, hey God, what was your best, weirdest experience of Earth? Hey collective, get around here. You're never going to get a load of this. I mean, come and get a load of this. You never guess what humans are doing. What's that? Well, they seem to be feeding elephants coffee. They wait with the tail up and start pumping it until it all starts coming out like some sort of plasticine. What's plasticine? I'll tell you in a bit. And they fill up this whole big fucking tub full of this stuff, process it, and then this is supposed to make the most expensive coffee in the world. So what is coffee? Oh, yeah. Basically, they heat water, put it in water, right? Let it all dissolve. You're kidding? No, I'm not. And then they strain away all of the bits that they don't want to drink. Drink. Yeah, drink. And then they tip it out into a cup, and then they're like, cheers. You're kidding. I'm not. Here, take a look at this memory. A bit like, You are fucking you're not having a laugh, are you? No? You thought I was pulling your leg or tail. Don't have a tail. You mean waste product is, genius. Fucking genius. Anything for money, right? And then you can propaganda that it's all full of nutrients. Well, why is it full of nutrients? Well, because the elephant eats nutrients. Oh my God. We eat the fucking shit. And we're going to be full of nutrients. Where's Einstein? Where is that quote? Stupidity, humans, was it? No?
Yeah.
Yes, it was. But yet, the elephants have that innate ability, which I think that we've all lost. Clearly, we're a long way from it. Yeah. Because elephants in the wild will go to certain water holes and they will use their trunk. Yeah. I mean, I thought that we were taught to copy. But no, we'll drink shit instead. Anyway, no, but I thought we were taught to copy, right? Mm-hmm. So you don't go to the same water hole and think, what is that elephant actually? Oh. And the elephant is eating this stuff. Mm-hmm. And it is to gain minerals. Mm-hmm. Because they can sniff out the minerals. Mm-hmm. And they go at this bit. And they're really territorial over it as well. For a bit while they're there. And then they sort of like, meh, I filled my boots. Mm-hmm. And then they wander off. And humans are like, nah, that's too difficult, that. I'm just going to wait around the elephant until it shits. And I'm going to eat some of this. Why is that? Well, because I can get some nutrients. Like, I'm sorry, what college did you fall out from again? We don't want to get this minerals from here? That's disgusting. Oh, okay, this must not be then. Okay, fair enough. What star constellation did you come from again? Sure, we're on different fucking dimensions, right? We gotta be. Hey, each to their own, but there might be some truth in it, but... Are you sure that... Hey, collective will say, yo, yes, can't pronounce your name, but go on, say it. They're drinking this stuff? Yeah. Can I try some? Get up. Just fucking go. You know what? I think you should go down and join them. You would love it. I just find this very strange, right? I find this weird, like... Mm-hmm. But again, where does that come from? And then it's so expensive, right? You said it was like something like 500 quid and like translate that money for drinking this coffee. You were telling me about some coffee being eaten by an animal and then they collect the shit.
Yeah, some small animals on.
Yeah, either elephant or whatever you want to call it. I don't really mind.
Yeah, elephant and then some small animals looking like ferrets or squirrels. I don't remember what they were. Who knows what else is eaten like that? That some animals eat it first and then you eat it.
Hey, I'm not judging, each to their own, but would you like to kiss me? No, I don't think I do. No, I'm alright, thanks. Would you like some? No, thanks. But you? Feel free. What's that? Golden shower mousse? Is it now? I mean, I just don't know where this got, like, you know, I think it's probably because they eat nutrients and then do this and then... Can you go to any other animal and be like, yo, do you want to experience a little bit of 2 girls, 1 cup? If you don't know what that is, my brother set me up a treat. It was just like telling me that it was like this magic, amazing thing. This is bullshit. Why are you making me watch this? What is this? Where do you find it? Hang on, how did you... Wait. And this is like anywhere on the internet. Oh my days, that was like something, man. I was like, okay, won't be falling for that again. Oh, I did. Oh my god, it gets worse. Anyway, but still, do you even know what that is?
No.
That's good. Save yourself from it.
Okay, I will.
2 girls, 1 cup. And a lot of ice cream. But then they eat it. But homemade ice cream. No, okay, it's going past you, it's great. Your mind is non-corrupted right now, okay? Cheers, twinnies. Fucking love ya. But yeah, so this is then moving on now, and then the zoos are like, hey, oi, do you want to make a bit more money? And someone's sitting in a board meeting somewhere going, right, I didn't make enough zeros. I didn't have enough nothings behind my 1, so actually make that 15. So, you know, I didn't have enough zeros this time. Let's get brainstorming. How are we going to make some more money? Well, we're throwing away all of this stuff. Exactly. And people love this stuff. Let's put a bit of poo in a pot and we'll sell that as a funny joke gimmick. April Fools. Okay, next one. Where are we going? Come on. We're starting off our own Easter, Christmas, birthday type theme. Come on. Let's keep going. Let's get them to eat coffee. I mean, how do you entice the elephant to even eat that, or the animal to eat that? That must be very bitter, right?
I don't know.
Because you know, you get a dog to eat it. You know, soon we're going to be loving that as well. You know,
some dogs
we're walking in that anyway, and then when it's nice puddle, and it's raining, and a bus
some dogs
by.
Eat anything, so
well,
like raw potatoes or stuff like that. Yuck.
You get worms from raw potatoes.
Don't dogs have worms anyway? Because they eat whatever they find. Some of them, not all of them, but some of them.
Okie dokie, right? But there again, look at what humans are eating. Drinking. So, yeah, but each to their own. But I think this is more like a sort of a gimmick, maybe, or some sort of mechanism's going to start to come from it. Name your poo, we've got it for you. Come down to the zoo. Take a souvenir of your choice. Subject to availability.
I think it's because at that zoo, it's because of the name of that director who's there. Because he has a name like a lump, some sort of. Which is, in Czech, it's Bobek. And Bobek means like, it can be something small. It can be lump of poo. I don't know. It's just that shape. So he used it as a promotion for...
I need you in my political party.
To sell
if you can make people buy this, I need you in my political party. I mean, here is a blank check. I will sign it. Write any number you feel you need. What can we convince people to do next? Could you get them to buy some of mine, you know? What about hair clippings? Anyway, hair clippings, right? If you save all of your hair clippings, like the amount of times that your parents was like, right, so what is it today then? Short back and sides, or are we going full skinhead? And you catch all this hair. If you were to put that in a pillowcase,
Yeah.
you'd have the best pillowcase ever, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Would you?
Over life, you could have mattress.
Yeah, you could have a whole blanket.
Yeah.
What do you think our ancestors were doing? Picking out of thistledown? Would you think they were like... And then
Wasn't horsehair used
probably
for
singeing, and they
mattresses?
probably didn't have electric back then either. But you know,
I recall horsehair for mattresses.
Yeah, but that's a bit coarse, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it goes. Yeah. Into the ones that you hand make, that do not have any springs in them. I did a few or worked on a few.
Well, probably the easiest way it was probably they weren't going to skinhead, but they probably let their hair grow to a certain length, plait it, and then cut it with a piece of flint.
Maybe.
Yeah, no, I think so. That would have been something like that. Nice big, too close to the head. I don't think maybe they had flint that was fine enough to, but I doubt it. I mean, that was going to hurt quite a bit. They weren't making Mohicans and stuff, and perhaps singeing, but I think that more so the ponytail. Well, that's rather fitting, but or perhaps they'd plait it and then cut it off.
Yeah, but what do people like tribal, more natural people do these days?
Well, if you need to make rope, do you know how strong hair is?
Yeah.
You can pull aeroplanes with it.
Yeah.
Right? So if you had, this is why I think they would use plaits. I mean, here we go. We're diving into something else now. So if you grow your hair quite long, sacrificial, I mean, you play into the psychology of ancients, and you were to cut this off and then loop it to another one and loop it to somebody else's and loop it to somebody else's, you've got quite a lot of rope.
Yeah.
And then if your ancestors were doing this, and I don't think most of this would survive, perhaps not. Long, keep going for generation after generation. I mean, you've got some hell of some rope. I mean, if you can pull a plane with it, you bring down a freaking dinosaur. And Tyson's swinging on vines. Yes, but vines are only very good. I mean, but where do you get the idea to go on from that? I think it's hair, but too flammable maybe, or singy.
Yeah.
So I think they'd plait it.
Yeah.
A plait is very strong.
Yeah.
Extremely strong. Ponytail is strong. Did you know a rhino's horn is made of compact hair? So is nail. It's very, very, very strong. And yeah, if you've seen what people can pull with their hair, you leave the beard alone, you take the hair. Not the beard. Why? Because I want to pretend I caught it on my chin. You cut, I caught. And you can join hair to hair, which is really strange. You can plait it in. And then this would give the process of what would come later would be the way to plait plait stinging nettle. Technically, that's what it is. If you take some of these and you roll it and then plait it, you get a stronger yarn.
Yeah.
Which that's how rope looks to me. It's just twizzling. And then you could use less hair, more fine, and then you can just keep plaiting within plaiting and plaiting and plaiting, and then you can add more hair into this process as well. And you would get the first modern day rope. So yeah, I like the way this one just starts to pan out. So it's a bit shit in the beginning, literally, but now it moves out into something else. So I think I'm going to have to make another video separate on that one because, again, it's weird the way we believe stuff. What did our ancestors do? Well, they must have just made yarn from yarn. Well, I think they were doing it from hair. I think they were doing it from animal hair as well. You know, if you bring down a horse were more common back then.
Yeah.
Great big tail, probably bigger than what we see today.
Yeah.
They would use that. They'd plait it. And plait tails of tails of tails
the
of
hair
tails.
on the neck. I don't know how it's called. Does it have a name for horses? The hair on the neck.
Yeah, it's probably got a name, but I think, again, rather small, that one. Might make a broom out of it.
But some of the horses have really long that
Yeah,
one too.
yeah.
So it depends on the kind.
This was on the menu to eat.
Yeah.
This would have been eaten a lot. Actually, in fact, quite a lot. If there was an abundance, they'd eat it.
Yeah. They would train a few to carry them and have the rest for eating.
Yeah, because we often see most of these animals that we see are quite small and dainty, apart from a cow. But again, sheep. I mean, if you got a field of sheep, okay, I might come back for you later. But first off, I'm going for the horse.
Yeah, sheep is. You don't have to.
Yeah, that's if you had them back then. Again, just making an example, but it would be more boar.
Goats.
Yeah, and perhaps they keep saying, it was deer, it was deer, it was deer they were eating. They were eating lots of deer. Loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of deer.
Birds.
Yeah, birds. But I don't think they would eat birds directly, to be honest. I think that was more happen. But I think they would go for the eggs. But they wouldn't. Everyone had the same respect, right? Oh, there's only 2 in that one. Maybe not. Because they were very respectful of the balance, because they were taught balance.
Yeah.
Balance. Today it's like, fuck it, cut down the hedge, but there's birds nesting in there. I don't give a shit, mate. Do you know what? That was the weirdest thing, right? I had this hedge and I left it to grow really massive. Humongous it was. Man, they can grow pretty big. Have you seen how big those holly trees are that I took you to?
Yeah.
And they the biggest you've ever seen.
Yeah.
They are towering, right?
Yeah.
They're almost as tall as pine.
Yeah.
I'd say they're taller.
And nice and round because it grows all sides like equally.
Yeah.
Nothing flat.
Lots of helium balloons on some fishing wire just to sort of, I think it's about there. Maybe I'll put a rock down and just sort of go back and have a look. Man, it can go up a little bit more. All right, drop that down. Okay, right then. Now I want to try and pop it, or you just pull it back down, but mark it on the fishing line, and then you can measure this against the tape measure. And then, whoa, and fucking whoa, that is a tall holly.
Yeah.
That is a true tree. Fucking stump like the size of, I don't know. I don't know, it's hard to get on for an oak size. But they often grow well in 3. But you see that, right?
Yeah.
That's fucking impressive, that is. Man, that holly grows, that's just mental size. You only see it in people's gardens and stuff like that, constantly cutting it. Yeah, what a waste, man. Let that shit grow. You want to see that thing skyrocket. It's got the potential to do it. My word. And how flexible the... Ooh, so flexible. Why are you so nasty to me when I get near you know? And the thorns on it. Frickin' hell. I should say points, but they look like thorns to me. Don't you evolve into shooting them things, will you? It's like our version of cactus, although I don't think it's native here. The holly, is it native?
I'm not sure.
Then it get me thinking about how big trees are, especially the ones that people don't know about. I guess there's a few people know about them, but I don't think most people are going to be traipsing through the woods. I always look at it like this, right? What is nature hiding? What you got in here, man? It's like I walk through these brambles and get absolutely cut to pieces. And then it clears out, it opens out. And it's like, man, this is like all the way around. Yeah, I can see why deers sort of, follow their trails. They'll lead you to some quite nice areas.
Protected areas.
Yeah, completely protected. Wow. Beautiful, actually. But I don't know where I was going with that. I was going somewhere. It was all full on and steam. So I was thinking about wild, this, that, and the other, platin, horsehair. And then we went on to really big holly tree. Yeah, it'll come back to me. I'm sure it will. It's there somewhere. Ah, yes, there we go. So when you let things grow, hedges and different things like that, have you noticed that, there's a waste of fuel going on and we're like, everyone's sort of like going, we need net zero.
Yeah.
And then they've got hedges around farmland and different stuff like that. And they're like, we got to cut it down. We're going to take the tractor out today, block the road off. Everyone's impatient.
Yeah. And cut it.
And we're going to cut it.
Yeah. And birds would love that hedge and they would love to have their nests there.
You see, that's the thing. When I left it to grow, absolutely pissed everybody off. But it's the science. I just need the science, right?
Yeah.
because there was nowhere I found a hedge that was truly left just to its own.
Yeah. It's obsession in this country, I noticed.
Yeah, it is an obsession,
Yeah.
an absolute compulsive disorder, almost borderlining OCD, that everything must be straight lines, everything must be cut. And then, you know, when they're like bramble bushes or something like that, they just let them overgrow. So brambles, they're good. Hedges, yeah, we're going to cut that down. Gotta cut it. Anyway, so there were these absolutely freaking, I just let them go. Let them grow. Only because each time I went to go and cut it, there was a shit ton of fucking nests in there, right? And these, oh man, I didn't have the art. I was like, not going to be cutting that. I will when the birds go. But what I found is they didn't go.
Yeah.
And then there was more variety of birds than I've ever seen.
Yeah, they
in
came
my
later
life.
and later, another birds and another one.
All different coloured eggs as well. I was like, wow, fucking hell, so small, so diddy. And then there's robins, I don't know, blue eggs, I don't know what they were. Finches everywhere. There was just, and all these birds were getting on.
Yeah.
Sort of, except for the pigeons, man. They were just clumsy bastards there. Knocked their own eggs out the nest.
Yeah.
Oh, better luck next time.
Yeah,
But how tame they are, right? When there's a sort of perching on that sort of thing. So, yeah, they're looking at you sort of thing. You're only going to fly away, but none of them flew away. That's very interesting. You saw the amount of... And then I was just like absolutely hammered to cut these down, you know. We're going to evict you if you don't cut these. All right, chill out, fucking hell. Then I was like going up to these companies like... You'll cut this down. And I'm like, yeah. And I was like, well, with all of those nests in there, you'll cut that down. I don't care. How much? Well, maybe about 500 quid. No, fuck that. But I don't know what to do, man. And then after it was cut, they never came back. It was almost like you broke their trust.
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine that? That's like you living in a house, just had a baby, and everyone's like, come on, fucking get out. Nope, stay away from your babies, that's it. Go on, fuck off. Well, what about, no, they're going to die, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Go on, fuck off.
And then people wonder where are all the birds.
Yeah, they're first to complain.
Yeah.
I feed them. Yeah, okay.
You feed them and then you destroy their eggs and their nests. So why should they stay?
Well, they don't stay.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, look, it's that funny island again. Yeah, fuck that. Am I going there? Why? They'll cut your hedges down so that you can't have any, you know.
Yeah, you won't have any eggs. You won't have any birdies. Yeah.
And you see, it's come a long way from that.
Yeah.
And you would think that the RSPB, I'm not sure. They'll probably put their stamps on chickens in Morrison's soon. Right? So you've got the RSPB and they're like, oh, you know, where are all the birds? And they have got some land where they're leaving it. But if you notice that the hedges in those areas that just don't do well.
No, they don't.
It's kind of weird, isn't it? We're just going to let it grow so that there will be loads of birds come there. So I guess there is some movement towards it, but how do you know the birds want to go there?
You don't.
Why do they keep coming back to this hedge?
Yeah.
You see, yeah, I'm not sure about that. So but in the areas that they do come back to, meh. And in the areas that are designated for them, there are a few, but not many. I mean, there was a different variety of birds there. I mean, oh my days, and the chirping. It was incredible. It's like having an aviary, but built into your own garden. And the sound that it blocked out, and also how much oxygen is that thing making? I mean, it was a monster, right? It was like 5 times me. It wasn't that big, but it was pretty big. And it was a slight protest as well. So, yeah, there's a little protest, actually. It was quite a big one. And would you believe it was a zoo that were like, you need to cut it? Okay, I guess. So the thing was quite interesting. It was a tower, I'm not going to lie. It was pretty darn big. Dried all the soil, which is great because houses seem to like this drying out process. It was far enough away to not cause any damage to anything. Very dry soil, damps out sound, and it encouraged an awful lot of nature, birds. So this was something. And then there was a lack of insects, though. There was a lot less insects. So there was I'll say diversity going on there. Food chain, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is.
And I had some CCTV up. I didn't really want to be looking at that, so I was more focused on the birds in the... And I noticed how the finches would come up to the CCTV. Yeah, you might be a bit eager and be like, oh, they're trying to communicate with me. What are you saying? Come on, what is it? What is it? Nah, they're just cleaning the spiders off it. And then they grip on the side of the house as well. Man, they're pretty awesome, really.
Yeah.
And they're cleaning away all the spiders and everything else. And then they ransacked the loft, I believe. They made their way into the loft once the hedge had gone. They'd gone into the loft. And then I was a bit like, do I, don't I? Well, the nest is kind of near the hole, so they seem to be all right. They're not causing that much mess. Sort of make a way for next year sort of thing. But yeah, and then they get used to your voice. Yeah, because they're in the house, they get used to your scent, and they don't tend to fear you as much. They fear everybody else, but they don't fear you as much. So they become sort of a bit more tame. And no, I didn't have any problems with bird mess anywhere. That's something else as well, right? But the crows, oh my God, man, freaking right in the morning, just before the sun comes up, and you might not be going in your car at that time, and by the time you do, it's like 12 o'clock, and that stuff has baked on there. There's no getting that off. Even the window wipers are like acting like speed bumps on the freaking windows you're trying to clean. Crows, on the other hand, oh my God.
Crows and pigeons.
But I'd rather you do it on a car than you would
On you?
Yeah, on you.
Oh my God, happened to me once.
Did it?
Yeah, with pigeons.
Right, I'm going to make that experience for you right now feel a whole lot better. Right? It landed on your shoulder, perhaps, your back or head?
It covered my whole shoulder.
Yeah.
And some on front and some on back. I don't think it hit my hair. I was lucky with that. But it was a group of pigeons, not one pigeon. It was in the city center on a square where they usually walked. They are still there these days as well, but that was different time. And they just flew, and they can do that when they fly, so they did. And my friend who was with me, she laughed hysterically. She got like 2 little spots on her because she was next to me, but my shoulder was all like white. You see, and she was laughing and laughing.
This is not a bad experience, right? I swear down, while walking through Wyndham, there was this matey going like this. Look it up. There was a lot of ruckus going on above, right? And all of a sudden, in my mind, I was making the sound like a shit. It was, man, that was just, oh my gosh. Right place, right time, wrong place, wrong time, right? There's like this duality. And all I heard was this me in my mind just making this. Is it like this? Straight in the mouth, mate. Like, oh man, you oh man, I feel for you. I really do, but oh my days. I'm gonna have after talking about animal shite, we kind of prep the stage. Collect it. Come here. I got something funny for you. Yeah, because this one, let's have a look at this memory for a second. Oh, my days, man. I just... And then it made me a bit more cautious that when I'm like,
Yeah.
So there you are. And that's why it's lucky for you that is unlucky. It couldn't have happened to a more nicer person as well. This person was lovely. If you squinted. Anyway, so there was kind of all of that. So yeah, this has been quite a brutal topic, but yeah, no, I'm not holding no boundaries on it. So yeah, I'm sure that there's going to be the whole thing of look, it does grow this stuff and it does make nice roots, and I'm not saying that it doesn't. I'm not saying that nature won't work with it. For me, I found that it was much more quicker to crushed rock and slightly burnt. I found this much more. And then more root development. So you could argue then that hydroponic is the way. So, perhaps hydroponic then, because it would allow the roots to really get going. And when the roots are big, so's the plant.
Yeah.
So hydroponic. There you are. That's where I'd sit with that one. So, but in shite, I don't know, man. I don't know. It feels like a wives' tale and then something to sell. Because damn, that must be expensive to look after one of those. But you could generate more money probably if there were these tracks that went from point A to Z in the summer. Get the whole ancient experience. I mean, it'd be great around Halloween, the whole Sleepy Hollow sort of thing. I mean, horse and cart journey from here to here. Why the fuck do I want that? I go on a train. But some people find that quite sentimental. Like, yeah, I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
I have been on horse and cart. Man, that's like with the... Ooh, those travellers. Ooh, man. That was exciting. So you get to learn an awful lot, man. Beautiful, beautiful carts, man. Absolutely beautiful. I'm not really sure I remember the name of what these are, but they were very beautiful. Very, very beautiful. And quite the experience as well. So, yeah, but whatever it is, more so now, these are more like the seaside areas and stuff like that. Oh, and riding a donkey as well. That sounds really wrong, but still, stand by it. On the beach, where some people have some donkeys and they take them down on the beach, and then it's like, yeah, come on, like money to ride it. I mean, it's a good way to look after them.
Yeah.
Want to buy some donkey? No, thanks. If you're making me coffee, apparently. Not sure it was in their diet, but So who's this really good for? You or them or this? God, those elephants must be tweaking after that. Literally, unless they don't respond to the same receptor as caffeine to be caffeinated.
I don't know if it's not processed. It's just some beans that are mixed with something, and they are very
mixed
small.
Afterwards. Either or.
They are probably processed afterwards, so dried and roasted.
Do that.
I don't know. I really just found it somewhere. I didn't follow that.
I think it was Bear Grylls that was one that was like, in survival, this is what you would need to do. We grabbed some shite and started squeezing out all the... I'm like, life or death, I can see that. There would be probably an appeal to that. Saves me chasing around a mirage. Is it a mirage?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to drink this out of its bladder. I don't think he's Australian, but still. I just find this stuff fascinatingly weird. Sorry, when you told me the story, it was like feed them this, and then they eat this, and then they process this, and then you get them to shit out this, and then we'll mix it in with this. You have 2 sugars in your coffee? Well, yeah, some people have lumps of elephant shit in theirs, but hey, so why am I weird for this? I don't know. I don't understand that.
Me neither. Don't worry about it.
So it just seems like we got a lot of waste products in different companies, and they don't want to throw it away. They'll probably be like, do you think we could sell this on Gumtree? But it's rubbish. Yeah, but everyone seems to be doing that. Do you want to buy a car? It fully works. Promise it works. I don't think I've ever brought a car off there that actually works. Well, it works in the fact that it'll get you home, get it to a mechanic, and he's like, you'll buy yourself a lottery ticket. Come again? Do you sell them? Is that to fix the car? No, this is a death trap. Right you are. And someone will say, you want to buy yourself a coffin? Man, that's fucking morbid. I didn't come here to get funeral advice. We've got a director next door. But yeah, so there you are. So there we go. So we've hit on a few things here. So nothing that I wanted to talk about, but yeah, it is what it is. So some of these are going to be a bit weird as I go through, but where did all of this stuff come from? There was a planet full of animals. They were shitting all over the lands. This was the time before nature. What did they eat? Doesn't matter. You'll believe it because it's propaganda. Should we have a propaganda at this? Come on, come on. Then there were some seeds come from space as they come through the atmosphere. When a meteorite crashed onto the planet, it was fully fertilized in horse shit, elephant shit, and any other shit that you can imagine. The seeds nestled down and started to grow really big roots from all of them. I mean, I'd believe this if nature wasn't first, then the big stuff came. Unless you believe that the planet was full of oxygen and then, slowly but surely the dinosaurs began to breathe and breathe and breathe until there was no more oxygen left and then they all died. And then God was like, we can't have this. Let's send some plants. Because some of those prehistoric things that I've seen where it's just like desert, no plants, there was perhaps some pine, very small little tiny pines, not much vegetation around. Oh yeah? What the hell did a diplodocus eat then? Vegetation. But on all of these documentaries, it didn't look like it. I'm sure the trees were much bigger, taller, redwood size. I'm sure oak trees were fatter than they've ever been. Okay, they came afterwards. Okay, then pine trees then?
Any other trees that maybe no longer exist, whatever. Yeah.
Well, we couldn't find them in any of these rock layers. Okay.
But there are not rock layers everywhere preserved like that, so they cannot find everything. Anyway, can they?
So yeah, if you're going to have some trees around, some really thin, small, dainty little trees. I mean, it's indoctrination. I don't think it's a fair example of it, but you see these really small twigs sticking out the ground. At the times of big, bad, foot per crush tree in second type landscape with big dinosaurs at the slightest turnaround and all trees fall over.
I saw some where they said that they had their necks so long because there were many trees and they were eating from trees like giraffes. So I don't know where you saw what you are talking about.
I don't know, these old book things that you get. Oh. Yeah, some pages were like really vegetation, but the small stuff. Oh. Then you got like a little crocodile-y type thing coming out of it.
Maybe it was before, as they drew it before and later and...
Then you see some of these dinosaur things where they're like walking around and this sort of stuff, and there's this little dainty, little tiny fir tree. But I mean, if you're telling that to kids, they grow up with a belief that there wasn't that much around. Well, I don't believe that, but again, it made me question the backdrop. It's like desertly parched. And I was just like, sure. No. There's a lot of reasons why I would say that this is not correct. And then, if humans did come about after the dinosaurs or during the dinosaurs, I think they were living inside trees. You know the way they hollow out? Yeah. Well, could you imagine that? Those trees would probably take a dinosaur, knocking into them. I think that the vegetation was here much before any creature pretty much existed. I think nature was probably the most dominant. Yeah, well, probably things in the oceans and stuff, and perhaps rivers. But I think the main thing that was on the land to begin with was
lavish nature.
Lavish nature. Big nature. Huge nature.
Forests everywhere.
They'll say, "Oh, it was bacteria." Okay.
What
Yeah,
was
it was bacteria that, yeah, some theories. You got to listen to some of them, haven't you? Some theories.
Yeah.
You got to kind of take them with a pinch of salt.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
for your own growing,
because that's their how do you say this? Their interpretation. Let's say.
Yeah.
From whatever they found, they will put something together, but it doesn't mean that it's right. Just
then,
because they found only this, and this doesn't mean that there was not that, and over there that.
See, a really weird experiment has never happened, and I don't know why, but still, perhaps it's probably because it's challenging. If you needed to get some beings ready for space in a sort of environment that was more oxygenated,
Yeah.
humans now, if it's too oxygenated, I don't think it really works out too well. But here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
So you see all the small door frames that are around.
Yeah.
So humans, over evolution,
Uh-huh.
have been taller and shorter
Yeah.
versus taller and shorter,
Yeah,
taller and
yeah.
shorter. So if humans were around when dinosaurs were around, how tall do you think they were?
They would be bigger, probably.
They would be taller.
Or would they be smaller because then they can hide from the ones that eat?
Well, you'd have two lots, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
The taller ones would be more likely to die out. You know, it could be the missing link in everything. Did we come from monkeys? Did we come from reptiles? Did we come from both of these things? Well, sort of. If humans drop out, you've still got humanoids on the planet, haven't you?
Yeah.
Take your pick. So, again, could you have had more of this?
Yeah.
But because they were testing inside your, like, have a look in your genes and your DNA and different stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like, no, there wasn't anything like that. How do you not know they didn't walk beside you like monkeys do? Primates.
Yeah.
But they just didn't survive because the structures weren't there. And perhaps, could you imagine trying a small human trying to breed with a big human? I'm not sure that's going to be very compatible. For a lot of reasons. A lot of funny reasons and also very serious ones. But it would literally be like throwing a sausage down the Dartford Tunnel. Right? No, come on, they've got to be honest here, right? And there's a whole level of crossbreeding, so that's probably why there's none in here. So, the whole giants?
Look now and there are people who are very tall. Some of them are just taller,
Yeah.
like basketball players. But compare
equally,
them,
there are people who are shorter.
Yeah.
So there are people who are taller, people who are shorter,
Yeah.
and then there are people who are medium size, and then there are people who are...
yeah.
No one's exactly the same size. Well, really, are you? Everyone. All varying sizes.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And if you compare the tallest ones, not the completely like overly, but the tallest group and the sort of shortest group, that you have your giants already, because the other ones will reach their waist one day.
But there again, if medium-sized humans, which is the populist of everyone's type, general accepted, everyone says, forgive my education, if they all disappeared, and you were left with only the tall or the shorter, that would be like that they would go on to believe after time that there was no medium humans.
Yeah, give it a few generations and that's it.
They were anyway, so let's get them out of history. I'm going to write them out.
Yeah.
In fact, we're going to make a lavish story about how we got rid of them. Right? Yeah, it's really... So yeah, do I think that there are more... And you'll say that the tallest people that you'll say, like basketball players, this, that, and the other? No, I'm talking...
I know
I'm
you are
talking
talking, but...
more than...
Yeah, I understand that. But...
And then, could there have been even smaller humans? Like the Boers!
There was one tribe somewhere on an island that were quite small. I don't remember the name, so I can't find them.
What did I eat for breakfast? Am I tripping? Are you really here? Bit like night at a museum type small. But it would be unrealistic to say that you are going to breed with you. Well, I mean, it might be possible, but again, technology probably wasn't around then. It would be done with technology.
There is a form of dwarfism where people are not just short, but proportionally small. So they look like dolls. They really have smaller heads and smaller hands and smaller feet. And it is very rare, but maybe it existed in the past. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm a great believer in this. That it's not even a belief. It's more like,
and they have voice just like
logical.
you. Yeah, they have voice just like you mimicked. I saw one years ago in documentary a girl that was really like that, very tiny, when born and stayed, grew a little bit, and she was, I don't know, she was not probably around a meter or something.
But the question would be, the biggest question would be, is not whether that is possible or not. For me, highly possible. Actually, that is 100. No, it's not a percentage. It is. That's fact. There would have been, and then there would have been. But the question would be, did these individuals work together? Maybe to achieve something. So you could say the medium humans manipulated the bigger humans to bring down the dinosaurs, and then felt threatened that they might bring them down.
Yeah.
So then brought them down to stop that from ever happening. Because I think the medium species is quite a manipulative lot. I mean, look at what they do to each other. Look at what they do to all of the planet. Yeah, fuck it, cut the hedge. You want to buy some shit? You know, so there's... They all try and sell you shit. So why would it be any different in processes, history, or anything else like that, for that matter? Why would there be a difference? And what goes around inevitably comes around. So, and then look at the way they try and knock each other down each time. No one's there trying to build each other up. So, and then there's things being used as a mean to an end. So use horses. And then, don't need them anymore, disregarded, we made this. And then sort of use humans, pay a shit tax, or wage, and all of that, and then replace them with robots. Don't need you anymore. There's this sort of attitude here that you could say, if there was anything more taller, this type of same attitude would probably still be here.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you think so? You see, you know, people, you're inside this sort of, woo.
Ooh.
You know, in this sort of whole mythology or whatever, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about that, if it's a myth. So the experiment would be, a way to prove or disprove this, is what happens if you subject man and woman who are in this high oxygen environment, they conceive a child, and the baby is born into this high oxygen environment.
Yeah.
And then the next child is born into the high oxygen environment, then they grow, and then the next... What happens to the size proportion here? And then there was something that I heard when I was a youngster, although I heard it in fleeting. If this stuff was like, probably came on a radio somewhere, I was probably trying to put some stickle bricks together or something, and I just heard this, to kind of play it back. Nope, it's gone. It'll come back. It will come back. It always does.
Yeah, I remember when I was
It's come back. Sorry, can I say it? Because it will flee off again. Thanks for that. It's gone again.
Oh. Where did it go?
There we go. Yes, it walked. Thank you. So there was this type article come out. I think I heard somewhere. Don't really remember what I was doing at the time. I wasn't even paying attention. But it was that humans are getting taller because of the carbon level is coating some theory somewhere, and it's theory, so do with it what you will. And if it's a theory, and someone's telling me it's a theory, then it means I can either A, accept or believe it, or B, I can disregard it, because it's a theory. That the carbon levels that begin to expand more, and seem to sit more heavier, that's technically not true, but shades of grey.
Yeah.
It's more common for it to be slightly lower than it is. Next band up is then going to be oxygen, because apparently it's heavier, more dense, whatever. And this is why humans started to grow more taller compared to past generations that were a lot shorter.
Yeah.
Well, there was more oxygen about. Then carbon started to become quite the thing, and then people started to get more and more taller. And this theory, this person, whoever it was, credit to the person, look it up, I'm sure you'll find it, then stated that that could be because humans are growing taller to get past the carbon level. But it kind of falls apart when we think baby. But then babies are usually held, lifted.
Yeah.
So it's only in modern times that we keep kids more down. But back in the day, hunter-gatherers would have probably had them on the shoulders. Kids would have been off the ground because predators would have attacked. So therefore, they were very rarely on the ground.
Yeah.
They were more often than not higher than the adult. Always on the back. Always higher. Always out the way.
Yeah.
Because it keeps the predator at a distance. And then the predator will have to go through you and hopefully fill its boots with you if it got you. And this gives a child a slight chance or to be found by another wanderer. Yeah, again, we don't have this in this day and age because it's all selfishness, but then it was selfless living. This is more selfish living. You think about it, everyone's all about me.
But
then they will hear something and then they will go and gossip about it. Yeah? But back in the day, if they heard something, they would go and investigate, find out, oh, this is true, and then they would help. If they all saw, there was this unwritten rule that they respected animals in the animal spirit, that if the animal wasn't used correctly and was wasted, such as food wasted, then the animal spirit would not be able to transition into the afterlife. There is this whole belief system here, and that they were to respect nature, and that they were to respect, so if they happened across a nest, and it's really hard to believe it in today's world of division, but and they see in a nest and there were 2 eggs, they would assume that somebody had already taken one. So they'd leave it. They would choose to starve. They could be hungry looking for something, but they would choose. I mean, how many times would that happen today? Well, it'd be hungry, but it would be, that's mine. Oh, fuck this bird, man. I'll take both of them.
Yeah.
That's the type of life that we're living in at the moment.
Yeah, remember.
It's a forest, but it's a habitat. It's someone's home. Fuck it. Cut it down.
Remember bisons in North America?
Exactly.
Who came, white people from Europe, and shot them all. They didn't even eat them.
Yeah, well, we got the same with fox hunting here. And pheasant season and different things like that. Not everyone is eating them. Some of these are left in piles.
Yeah. But native people would hunt them, but they would hunt 1, 2, and they would eat them. Yeah.
That if you only took what you needed,
you would
there
have
would
for
be
a
more
long time
for
ahead.
your children, children's children. You see, that's what was passed on: knowledge.
Yeah, there
not
were millions.
assets, not property, not money, not this. This stuff was, and then it was all about what can I get? What can I get? So, and then there was more they would be more likely to share. So if they heard something in need, heard someone in need, and it's hard for you to visualize that because you're inside this biome, because you've been brought up inside the fishbowl. So you're inside a fishbowl, and the fish doesn't realize that there is a river. And the humans don't realize that there is another way. There is this everyone being friendly to each other. I think it slightly touched upon it in the 60s and 70s, didn't it? There was this peace, love, and respect.
Yeah.
That goes to show you that started to... There was a movement done, but there was also a lot of anti-movements against it.
Flower people, because of they protested the Vietnam War as well, didn't they? That's where it started, and they wanted freedom and...
And I think that's when it became more heavily that marijuana was made illegal.
Yeah, because it brought...
it didn't work. People were just like, now we're not doing it. Now we're not... So the whole marijuana thing, I think that everyone got on the bandwagon of that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
I mean, again, that's what side of the fence are you looking on here as to that being bad? Because they would say that was bad, and you would say that that is bad. So you've got each side sort of doing it. So there was anti-movements going against this, and that's then when it was looked at that it was evil, it caused mental health, it caused this. But in actual fact, when it was legalized and more drugs were legal back then, well, I don't think it was about being legal. I just don't think that they had enough resources to actually clamp down on it. And then there was this movement of love, peace, joy, happiness, friendship, look out for one another. The movement went this way. And then there was the whole propaganda trail of these things will do worse to you, these are cause mental health. When in reality, it seems like a projection. It's very strange. It is very strange, and if it had have actually formulated back then properly, this world would be very different. And then it was nature and just peace and respect the land. It was a little bit of the ancients coming through back then. And then there was all the color ratio started to come back as well. Things were more vibrant, things were more happier, positive. So you've got protests that will go against it, and it got into what it is today. But again, you're in a fishbowl. You're born in a fishbowl. So it's hard for you to jump out of the fishbowl and jump into a river to be able to see the flow. It's hard for you to do that, I think. I think it's easy when you start to go down there and think. I think that when you free yourself, technically there is no fishbowl. It's just an illusion that there is one inside a river, technically. So that's on wherever you stand with that. That's up to you. But in that type of environment, if someone was getting harmed, people are not going to pull out their mobile phones and start filming it. They're going to actually take action to help that person in that and help the other person see the error of your ways, dude. Come on, you need to chill out. And usually I think that sort of debates like that sort of, just fizzle out naturally, because the mass hysteria of the collected around you is far more positive and far more able to sort out the differences without the need of needing to be just as rough to go in there and break that up sort of thing. It wasn't kind of like that. It was done with reasoning and logic. So it's a little bit like the hunter-gatherers, almost. It's a very good quality to have. But again, it makes it incredibly hard to bullshit in those times. Well, sort of and sort of not, but... So I think that the whole objective is at the moment that if it does swing over to that way, it will never go back this way. They will make sure of it. I think that's the way it would move towards this tranquil... Everybody, all hands on deck to build things, to make things happen, if necessary. And then these people are unintelligent who were on this, and then they were see, it's a smear campaign, and you can have it on both sides. There's shades of grey, there's good in both, and there's also very toxic in both. So, but yeah, back in the day, they wouldn't have gone, hey, tribe, come here. We just saw this other tribe, right? They were doing this and this to their mateys. There wasn't any of that. They were already in there trying to sort out what they could. So again, with this whole carbonated, this is probably known inside your genes, I guess, if you like. When someone hurts, falls over or does something or is in any danger, what does mum usually do or dad usually do? Go and pick little one up. It's a safety thing. Not if you've got a jumping animal, such as dog. Dog will jump to grab from your arms. There's a difference there. So, but things like boars, foxes, I would say wolves, actually. Perhaps not. I don't think that was particularly their menu. Again. But I think there was a lot more respect for the land. And I think this is why it was the most enduring out of all of them. This whole metal age is very recent. But look how destructive it is. So what's to say that back in the time there was a metal age before the Mesolithic Stone Age, if you like, that they learned that it was very bad. In this much time, it has managed to nearly ruin the whole entire planet. Look how many species have dropped off. But yet in the whole of that Stone Age, which was held onto for the longest period of time, there seemed to be an awful lot of respect.
There was Stone Age, then there was Copper Age, and then there was Iron Age.
But it's still, when that is only
metal.
a very small. That's very small.
Yeah, it is.
The longest reign out of all of them is the Stone Age. So, and remnants of it are still here today. Then comes the metal, then comes the land takeover, then comes the weaponry, then comes this, then comes the destruction, then comes the fast destruction. Slippery slope. It's almost like by chance that everything is starting by force to go back to the way it was. Isn't it weird? Almost like by design.
Yeah, it will probably go back there.
Anyway, going to leave this one here because it's been a hell of some topics in here. I couldn't pick one. All of these things were sort of accumulating in there, so I just want to clear those out. It's definitely not the one I wanted to do. I got a few more, but again, going to leave this one here. It is what it is. There you are.